morning, Merry Christmas. I'm gonna put a bunch of clips together again for you guys. It seems like people like that. I've been shooting some stuff over the last couple days, but wanted to mention being the bigger person real quick. I live in an apartment complex in Los Angeles. It's pretty cool. It's 3 separate properties, and the property that I live on happens to be 3 separate buildings. There's 2 in front of me that are very long, and they're all one level. There's some 1-bedrooms up front, the rest of them are singles, and then I live in the back building, which is 2 stories. It's got 4 apartments in it. I look out over everything. And you know, people come and go. LA's very transient. I'm the longest living resident in the out of all the apartment, at all 3 properties. That's true, yeah. So I've seen everybody come and go. And it's interesting to me when people have issues with one another, and it's no different than all of our other human relationships. Communication's key. And some of these people come in and they get a little bent, you know, with somebody else, like their behavior. And then sometimes their thing is to call the manager about it. And the manager's not really there to deal with, in my opinion, deal with your personal issues with another tenant. You're an adult. You should be able to talk to that person and say, hey, man, there's this thing going on. I don't understand. Can we get to the bottom of it? Figure that out. You know, the manager's there for, you know, collecting your rent, and if you've got an issue with your apartment, you know, something's wrong, broken, needs to be repaired, that sort of thing. And it's interesting. I'm in this situation where I'm trying to be a peacemaker with other people, and actually, even this morning, just now before I left the pad, I have this new neighbor. She's super cool, but I smelled something burning. It smells like something was on fire. I went to her door and I put my hand on the door just to make sure there wasn't a fire going on in there, and I figured it out. I was like, well, she's probably burning incense. It's pretty bad though, because it went all the way into my apartment. I don't like it, but I'm not bent. I'm not angry about it, right? I sent her a note. She's texted me back. I haven't read it yet. But, you know, I'm not going to call the manager about that and start complaining. But then again, I'm also a man, and I've been talking to women about this because they're the ones complaining about each other to the manager or to me. And when I listen to what they're all saying, it's over nothing, really. You know, let's say you come home and there's a bunch of people on the stoop, and the people on the stoop, they're sitting there having a good time drinking, and they don't want to, you know, they're just sitting there having a good time, and you walk up and they don't just get out of your way, you know, like maybe they should. You think that's rude, you get angry and you call the manager. Or the people sitting on the stoop, they're saying, oh, this person walks up and is just rude to us. And all it is one person saying, excuse me, can you get up and move? All I want to do is walk past you. Like, hey, I just spent, you know, 45 minutes driving on the highway in traffic. I'm not in a good mood. And I get here and you guys aren't, you know, moving. Like, let's go. What the hell are you doing, lady? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why are you driving so slow here? I don't understand. Sorry. The lady was literally going like 5 miles an hour. I can tell she's talking to somebody too. Merry Christmas. Get the hell out of my way. Anyhow, it's just a very, and by the way, these people I'm talking about, I'm friends with all of them. You know, I get along with all of them, but some of them I haven't been friends with at different points in time. And, you know, then time goes by, enough time goes by, and then it's over with, and then you can kind of talk about it later, you know, down the road and be like, oh yeah, you remember that time? Or that day, you know, I'm going to turn this thing around. It's just human interaction. You know, just talk to somebody. And if somebody's a real jerk, right, you can point that out right as it's happening. And I keep giving this advice, by the way, to these people who happen to be women. And the response I get from them is, well, you're a man, you can do that. Or they give me credit. They're like, oh, well, yeah, it's good that you can, you deal directly with something right then and there. As if it's a big deal that I have that kind of confidence. Weird. Just do it. There's nothing to be afraid of. Nobody's just going to beat you up or something, right? I mean, see, I just don't understand what's going on with this situation. Not just the one I'm kind of talking about specifically, but even in general terms. Come on, buddy. Let's go. You got it. You can walk. You can walk faster. There you go. So, the whole thing is weird to me, that people don't feel like they got the gumption to just bring things up and talk directly to one another. There'd be a lot less problems with people if you could just have the confidence enough to directly speak to the person you're having an issue with. And again, as I was about to get to a couple minutes ago, this parking took my concentration off. It's a pretty good parallel park job, don't you think? So it's one of the great things about having an Astro van in the big city. You can actually park the thing. So if you walk up, perfect scenario, you're coming home, a bunch of people sitting there on the stoop, they're not moving when you get there, and they're looking at you because they're having a good time drinking. Nothing wrong with going, hey, guys, you know I have this puss on my face. I just drove all this way. I'm upset. I get home, and now you're just sitting here blocking my way. All I want to do is go home and relax. That's all. And now, if they're rude when you say that, then you'd be like, why do you have to be rude? Like, that's my thing. I've been doing this for a long time now. It's perfect stranger, people I know, it doesn't matter. If I'm conversing with somebody, if I point something out, and then that person's response is, dickheady, right as it's happening, I go, hey man, what's with that? What's with that dude, man? My big thing is when I'm dealing with a dude, especially somebody I don't know, who's being aggro with me, is always, hey, at ease with that bullshit, Watch how you're talking to me. Change your tone with me. Things like that. And when it's not a situation where it's somebody like who's being really aggro, almost like they want to fight me. The funny thing with me is, let's make this all about me. The funny thing about me is, I don't even realize when it's happening. I was telling a story the other day, and I didn't realize, all these years later, it finally hit me what was going on. I can't remember which story it was. But it was a guy approaching me, it was the story about when I was on a job, and the first thing in the morning is a Mexican guy. He came up to me and he said, hey man, the only reason you make more money than us is because you're white. And my response to him was, no. I said, well, I don't know what you make, but if I make more than you, it's not because I'm white, it's because I'm better at this than you are. And I said, see these new tools I bought to do this job? How many months have I been here? How many mistakes have you seen me make? How many times have you seen me do anything more than once and getting it done perfect the first time? That's how I'm doing it. And I point out how he was in a spot all week in this little bathroom, screwing it up, wasting material, making mistakes, getting paid to make mistakes and waste material. He bowed his head and he walked away. When I was telling the story the other day to a friend of mine, it hit me suddenly, like first thing in the morning, for a guy to walk up to you and be like, hey man, the only reason you make more money. Those were fighting words, really. I think the guy wanted to start a fight with me, looking back on it. But I'm such a confident person that when somebody is in my face trying to like scare me or intimidate me or goat me into a fight, I don't even recognize that that's happening because I don't see anybody as a threat, which is that throws people off mentally, right? And I've done it in situations where I have recognized that this guy, and my whole thing is like, and it's happened a lot here with people, other than white people. There's a thing here where LA is probably the most racist place I've ever lived, where people think, white is weak. And it don't. And I will remind them of that. every chance I get if I'm confronted with it in that way. So I don't know, maybe it's, I'm seeing things the way I see them, obviously based upon the situations I've been in my life. I've been in a lot of street fights, been in a lot of intimidation types of scenarios where people are screwing with you. Having been in the Marine Corps is a big deal, because after going through all that to achieve the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor, what you go through, if you're a Marine, because you're always a Marine, once a Marine, always a Marine, but if you're a Marine, for the rest of your life, nobody should ever intimidate you, right? That's just what they drill into you. You're not intimidated by anybody. Somebody could be yelling and screaming in your face, and you're going to remain composed. Now, you all probably, some of you probably know guys that were in the Marines that you've seen lose their shit. So you'd say, hey, that's not true. Of course, it's not always true. I see fat Marines walking around. That really bothers me. Every time I see somebody who's in the Marine Corps who's what we used to call a disgusting fat body, is what we used to call them. If they become one after having been in the Marines, barring injury, but even if you were injured, you broke a leg, one leg's 3 inches shorter than the other, that's still not an excuse to get fat, in my opinion. That's just how it is. You've got that mental discipline. You know how to get in shape. You should just be doing it. But, so I do see, you guys aren't my therapist. I'm just talking things out. I see it. But when I'm talking to these people in particular where I live, this is what I'm bringing up. This is what I'm talking about. And I'm giving them examples. Even this woman yesterday, I said, look, if they're not going to move on the stoop and that bothers you so much, just walk up the driveway. Just avoid them. That's the end of the thing. And there's no more issue. You don't have to call the manager anymore. Everything's fine. But the bottom line is, and this is the point I wanted to make, choose to be the bigger person. At some point, just choose to be the bigger person. Just walk up to somebody you haven't talked to in a while and say, hey, I'm sorry if I ever said something that offended you. And see what kind of door that opens. There's a woman that lives underneath me. I didn't talk to her since 2011. And we used to be friends. We used to talk all the time and laugh and have a good old time. I had a girlfriend in 2011, this Korean girl. I was like 20 years older than she was. And she was over 4 or 5 days a week, and we were going at it and for, 4 to 6 hours at a time. I'm kind of like that. Too much information. So there was a lot of screwing going on, and I guess we were making noise, and a lot of times it was on the floor and on a chair and on the sofa and on the bed. It was all over the apartment, And a couple times the girl downstairs with like a broom would pound on the ceiling, and we'd be cool about it, whatever. But one time she did it, we were on the floor in the living room, and boom, boom, boom with a broom, and I happened to be within arm's reach of a dumbbell, like a 30-pound dumbbell, and I just picked it up and I just went boom, boom. The whole house shook. And we giggled to ourselves, laughing about it, because we thought it was funny that she was pounding on the ceiling in the first place. She stopped talking to me, my downstairs neighbor. 2011. So it was like, 10, 11 years. She didn't speak to me. And I would see her outside. She'd walk by me, right by me. She would avert her gaze. She'd just stare straight ahead like she was a Marine marching in formation. And the other day, I saw her, I was walking by her, and I said, hey, and she went, Merry Christmas, and then she went, oh, I can't believe I just said something. And I looked at her, and I laughed at her. I said, what the? I said, look, Nicole, I miss being friends with you. We used to talk and have a good time. I don't understand it. And she said hi, and then she said, I can't believe I said something. She said, well, since I said something, Merry Christmas, how are you? And then I said, hey, I miss being friends. We were cool. I don't understand. I never had a problem with you, I said to her. And then since then, when I see her now, I say hi, she goes hi, and it's good. But that's 11 years, man. 11 years, somebody not talking to you. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, man. So my message to you is that, A, time heals everything. Enough time goes by, people get over shit. And 2, if you want to get over it quicker, just be the bigger person. Just choose to be the better, bigger person. Open line of communication. Don't be afraid. Just, hey, what's going on? Your tone is important. Diplomacy is important. Tact is important. So keep all those things in mind. Work those scenarios out in your mind. If it's really bothering you, because for these people, it's bothering them. I know, because they're dumping on me about it. So, I listen to one person's story, I listen to the other person's story, then I go back to the first person, I text to the second person, and I'm not doing it in a drama way where like, this person said this about you. I'm not doing that. I'm just listening and I go, well, I'm giving them both solutions. This has paid off for me in the past where I've gotten people to talk again and be cool. But, it's just bizarre. I feel like in a way what I'm doing here with the apartment is also what I'm doing here on YouTube with you guys, where it's just little life lessons. We should all be working on ourselves. This is my Christmas message to you. Be Christ-like, man. Christ wasn't a Christian. He was just a dude, man. And his philosophy, if you just listen to what Jesus said, is just, don't judge, be good to your neighbor, all that good stuff. It's common sense sort of things. Be a good human being. Be the best human being you can be. Be an ambassador for all human beings at all times, for the best you can. We all get emotional. You hear me in traffic. One minute I'm like, hey, be really kind, evolve, be a good human being, be the best you can be, always work on yourself. Hey, asshole, what the hell are you doing? I'm aware. Hey, jerk, what are you doing? Nice blinker. Your blinkers don't work. What the hell are you? I know I'm a white, because I'm human, man. I get it. But, we're a paradox to a certain extent. But you should always be working on it and reflecting. Self-reflection is key. That's how you're going to learn about yourself and others. Let's all just work on being the best versions of ourselves, okay? For the new year, please, can we make 2024 better than 2023? Because let's face it, the whole damn world is on fire right now. And all we got to do is talk, man. and the thing is, like, if you get to a point where you're talking to somebody and they're still coming at you, like, let's just say violence. People say violence don't solve anything. Violence solves everything. Violence or the threat of violence does solve everything, right? If you are an asshole, you come at me and I hit you in the face, you're never going to do that again. You're not going to do it again because you know what the repercussions of that are. So it's like Sun Tzu in The Art of War. If you don't want to have a war, prepare for war, right? Because your enemy's going to see, hey, this guy's prepared. Don't want to screw with him, all right? That's the thing. That's a whole other mental thing that you have to understand as well. Compliments will get you everywhere. Being kind helps a lot. Being the bigger person, developing some self-confidence, which is only going to come from practice, and communication, man. That's all we need. It's all we need. Just got to communicate. I'm done talking about this right now. So I'm going to shoot some stuff, put a little video together. Hope you guys enjoy it. It's already 18 minutes in, so it's a lot of blathering. If you guys got this far, phew, you're special people. Merry Christmas. Kind of sparse at the swap meet today. Just a reminder, sunglasses are more important in the wintertime because the sun is lower on the horizon. So the sun's going to be in your eyes more and you're going to get more glare off the back windshields of cars in front of you and all of that in the wintertime in the northern hemisphere. Always have your sunglasses. My buddy Chad hooked me up with this vintage pullover. It's a reproduction of a piece that they wore in World War II. You can see these long pockets that feed here from the front. We put these vintage snaps on here from that era, believe it or not. And this had a bunch of Army buttons on it. So I kept them on the cuff because I have to... This is U.S. Army there. I kept them on here because I'm going to shorten these sleeves a little bit. And when I do, I'll do the Marine buttons. I just put these on. You guys know I was in the Marine Corps, so I couldn't wear anything that had Army buttons on it. And I lined the back when I did them with some leather in an attempt to keep them from pulling through. And it's interesting because these just basically snap in place, but then you can see here, I decided to peen that over. all right, just to make it extra snug. So they're on there now, and that's pretty cool. Thought you guys might get a kick out of that. So really the whole thing here is just about, you know, pointing out, hey man, make your own stuff, augment your own stuff. It's easy. It's not, you know, you can figure it out, and then you can end up with something cool. And I'm only mentioning this because people keep asking me every time I'm wearing something. What's that? Where'd you get that? My neighbor flipped out on this over this the other day. It's just bizarre.
That makes me feel like a man. I need a woman that makes me feel like a man. When I come home late at night, well, she'll wrap her legs around me. She'll squeeze me tight. I need a woman that makes me feel like a man. Oh yeah. When the world around me grows dim and I don't know who I am. Oh Lord, I need a woman that makes me feel like a man. Oh yeah. That makes me feel like a man. Oh yeah. I need a woman that makes me feel like a man. Oh yeah. When I play on my guitar, well, she'll say I'm genius. Well, she'll know I'm a star. I need a woman that makes me feel like a man.
Oh, it's a great song. Really coming down. But that's not what you're here to see. So I got all the doors in. There'll be a little tweaking still. Pretty good reveal at the bottoms, pretty tight. Keeping in mind the floor's a little out of whack. I don't know if I did it for you, but if I was to put a level on that top shelf to this one, it's perfectly level, even though things are out of whack. Remember, there's going to be a floating desktop in here of oak, white oak. That'll match the floor eventually. Probably put a shelf here. We were talking about it the other day. She mentioned maybe putting a mirror in there and all kinds of other ideas. But I think in the end we might end up with just the one shelf here. Because from here up, you can get some tall bottles in there if you wanted to make this a bar. I'll get the handles on it later, but... The primer is a little sticky still. I mean, I guess it's designed to be that way, so it'll help you with your finish coat. So I got to fill some holes. I've got to still do the molding along the top of the ceiling. After it's painted, some little rubber bumpers will go in here. These inside are, it's basically 17 by 17 depth and width. And then, if you guys will recall, this is just one big giant cabinet with 4 doors. Everything's an inch thick. Perfect use of space. I mean, when I first started coming to this house, they had a washer and dryer here that actually protruded beyond this corner. When I did the room and patched all the holes in the walls, all the cracks, I added this piece of wood here. This is wood and wood here to help reduce damage to that corner. This was lower. Right? My client had the brilliant idea of raising that up, which I did, and trimmed all that out. So plenty of room. I mean, it's like 40-something inches between this corner here and this. I think it's about 40 inches or so. 3 feet is usually your minimum. So we have a nice flow of space. Originally, there was an old hall tree piece of furniture here with a little mirror in it. Ate up a lot of room. And I was going to make something here, but we've decided, the client has decided she wants to do a gallery wall here of images, you know, family pictures and everything. So I'm just going to end up doing like a little box here with a panel under it, kind of with hooks, and we're going to hang the coats here now, which is a better use of the space, I think, because that's a weird dead space area. But now you can also, I put wood here. This was a disaster, so all this trim was all my idea. And so the idea now is that you walk in and it's nice and clear here. You turn this corner, you walk in, and boom, it's just a nice, beautiful, wide open space to walk through. But now, again, now it's a room. It's a usable space now with a ton more storage. They had a chest of drawers here at one time that are just full of linens and overpacked. I mean, this thing is, you know, there's just so much storage here now. Anyhow, hope you guys dig that. Raining in LA. Okay, so I got the crown up, looking really good. Got the basin. Nothing's been prepped for paint, so I just got to fill some nail holes and that sort of thing. would have put the knobs on, but the screws for the knobs are actually longer than an inch, so I got to go buy a bunch of shorter ones and I get the knobs mounted. And I think the bottom of this door on the right here, I'll trim that a hair to match the door on the left. Other than that, looks pretty good. Looks pretty stinking good. And again, you know, inset doors. That's what sets it apart. You know, most people today are all going with overlays because it's easier. It's much more difficult to do insets and get all those reveals pretty even. But that's the way they did it in the old days. Once this gets painted, I'll fit the oak top. And we're talking about just doing one shelf here now. And then this is some of the shiplap here that we're going to put in here. Alright, so I'm working on the buckle part of the strap. This is the buckle I'm using. I can't even tell what the heck that says. Lambretta, maybe? I think that's what it says. Anyhow, it's for this Seiko land tortoise, and no AR, and what I mean by that is every watch will reflect a little bit, but with no AR, this will reflect the sunlight, so you can actually signal a plane. Kind of cool. This is the other strap here. Got the linings already glued on. I punched the hole. I screwed this one up. I'm making this one for myself, but you can see on the right line, I went out of straight on that. Kind of a bummer, but it's okay. And then this is the boon, so I've got one half of these glued up now. I'm going to clamp this down, glue the other, and then I'll be stitching that as well. I'll show you guys a little bit of this. Merry Christmas. It's Christmas Eve. I'm doing nothing. I'm at the shop. I'm cleaning out the van. I just went to the swap meet. And I'm going to do something. I'm going to attempt something right now, which it's not the best time for it because yesterday I did over 100 push-ups for sure. I did a bunch of flies. I did some curls and some triceps. And I have not been working out. I'm trying to get back into this thing. And in a few days, I'll be 57 years old. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some push-ups. And I don't like filming push-ups because I know what proper form is, right? I know you should, every rep, you should always touch your chest or sternum. It should hit the deck. You should always try to get full lockout, you know, on your elbows. And I do that. Like if I'm trying to do, sometimes I'll go super slow on the way down and explode up. And I'll do all sorts of different moves, different hand placement, you know, for triceps or, you know, widen the chest or whatever. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just try to knock out quick ones real fast. So the form's not going to be there. It's just about the number of reps. And the thing is every time you do a push-up in a different way, you're going to get something else different out of it. So you don't have to beat somebody up all the time if their push-ups aren't perfect form. Maybe that's not what they're going for. I got a bodybuilder friend. I was talking to him about it one day because he was just, you know, doing these quick reps. And the thing is when you do that, you're getting like this, you're getting a really good pump in your chest. So you're still getting a benefit out of it. And we're just going to see if I can do it right now. And I like I said, I don't think it's smart because I blew out my chest yesterday. But we're going to give this a shot real quick for you. All right, let's see how this works out. Okay. I always like to start from that in the Asian squat, you know, and then lean forward and kick back. You know what? Let's take the, if I don't take this off, let's make a bunch of noise as I'm going and annoy me. All right, here we go. 10, 20, 30, 40. There's 50. All right, let's see here. Put a number on it and then that's it. I'm telling you, I blew myself out yesterday doing this. Woo. That's how tired I am. Hey, I put the Seiko land tortoise on a custom bunch strap yesterday too, last night. Now listen, yesterday I did 2 sets of 57, no problem. But again, I'm kind of blown out on that. So this is just motivation for you. It's Christmas, man. That's our new year. Let's all work on being the best versions of ourselves, but that also includes a little diet and exercise. I'm cleaning out the shop and the van a little today. And I've got some extra tools. I haven't decided. I really want to bring this big box here to the house in Arizona. I got a lot of extra tools in there. And I got a big saw up there and a table saw at my old shop space where I live. So I might do all that. I don't know. I'm a little bummed, man. Yesterday I did those with no problem, but I also just ate that hot dog you saw. Excuses, excuses. Merry Christmas. I hope you guys are having a good time with friends and family and all that other good stuff. And I'll catch you guys later. Listen, before I go completely, I'm going to include a couple clips here, or I just did. You just watched them. Those are clips of the build I just did. Still have to paint it. A little primer and paint and put the knobs on, but that's the butler's pantry. Came out good. Probably some clips in here, the watch making or watch bun making thing. Don't know what else I showed you. But again, Merry Christmas. I hope you all are enjoying yourselves. Your happiness is all in your mind. Choose to be happy. I'll catch you guys later.